Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you guys a few common problems that happen in Inventor and how to solve those problems. So first I'm going to start off by showing you the three problems. As you can see here, I have a little metal frame that has sort of been started. There are a few constraints already on there, but we're still missing a bunch of constraints. So when you're CADing in Inventor, a very common type of error that happens is when you have two conflicting relationships. So for example, this one. Between these two channels, I already have this flush constraint. If I were to accidentally, perhaps, flush constraint this face to this face, and I click OK, it's going to show me this error message because I have two conflicting relationships. This is because if this face is already flush with this face, I cannot have this face flush with this face because that type of relationship just can't exist. The second type of error message that commonly shows up is when you have redundant constraints. What I mean by that is, as you can see here, I already have these two faces flushed together. But if I were to constrain them and try to flush these two together again, because I forgot that I had already previously flushed them together and I clicked OK, it would show me this error message again because you can only have the relationship once, so you don't want redundant relationships. The final type of error message is a little more complicated. So if I were to have this errored constraint and I clicked OK and I clicked accept the relationship, you would see that it would show up as an errored relationship. But afterwards, if I were to select this face and this face to flush constraint, it wouldn't work, even though we know that relationship should be able to exist. This is because of this. If you have an error constraint somewhere, you have to make sure that you either delete it or you suppress it. Because if you don't, it's going to what's going to happen is what I just showed you. So a constraint that should be able to exist, the flush between this face and this face, won't be able to exist. And that is because of this. So if you have an error constraint, you have to make sure to go through and delete it or suppress it. And after I delete that, when I flush these two faces again, you can see that it works. So now I'm just going to go a little bit more into depth with the error message box. So if I were to make another error constraint, for instance, this time maybe I will flush this and this. Okay. Obviously it doesn't work. So Inventor has this little error box and you have 4 things that you can do. So the first one is edit the relationship. So you can click edit the relationship and it'll let you to reselect the faces. So I didn't actually mean to constrain this face and this face. I actually wanted to flush perhaps okay. Perhaps I wanted to flush this face and second selection, this face. Okay. As you can see, when I went back and edited it, I fixed the relationship and it can exist now. But I could also do something else. So another errored constraint. You can just straight up cancel the operation and just redo it again. That's what I usually choose to do because it's just the most simple. You can also accept the relationship. But what usually happens when you click accept the relationship is, if you look at this piece right here, an errored relationship will show up. And as you saw previously, if I allow this to stay here, I won't be able to make effective relationships anymore with this piece because all the relationships after it will get affected. So usually you do not want to choose to accept the relationship. So I rarely use that function, and make sure if you do have this error relationship to delete it. Finally, the final thing you can do is choose to diagnose. When you have an errored assembly, you can click diagnose the relationship, and Inventor will show you why the relationship cannot exist, and it'll show you the parts, and you can choose to either suppress or delete the broken relationships. So I don't usually use this either. Again, I usually just go ahead and cancel the relationship because it's usually not that big of a deal. So that is how you fix relationships and the common types of errors that usually occur in Inventor.